Boom, baby, we're alive. Welcome to Interview with the Man, episode 654. Why are American women acting like men? I'm here with my beautiful friend, Janelle Gordon. We're going to talk about that. But before we get going, don't forget, June 29th, we have the Inner Game Healing Summit. It's going on live. You're not going to want to miss out on that. Take a quick look here, and then we're going to get started with today's episode.
This is MLD, and I'm the leader of the Masculine Empowerment Network. And I'm here today with a very special message with you in regards of the recent situations that have happened to me, my community, and my image here on the internet. As many of you know, I was recently a victim of a baseless cyber attack from a group of hate-filled individuals that tried to paint me in a negative light in order to damage the work that I do for the men in my community and the men of my world every single day since I started live streaming in 2019. Thankfully, all of their lies and manipulation have been disproven by me and the men within my organization. These critics are now permanently silent. However, I'm going to be very honest with you. During this time, my mental health did take a hit. For weeks, I received slanderous comments, death threats, nasty direct messages from so many people on so many platforms all over my social media and anywhere I was going. This is commonly known as cyberbullying, and it was a terrible experience to go through. On a daily basis, I could feel my anxiety rising, my stress rising, a creeping feeling of self-doubt lingering in the back of everything I did. And overall, it was just not a good experience to go through. As many of you know, right now, we're in the middle of a cultural war. And as a leader in this movement, it is up to me to be strong. And thankfully, I have a group of experts in my community that specialize in mental health. And with their support, I was able to get through this awful time in my life and continue to bring the value to the community that I have built online, which is based around one thing and one thing only: helping men. I am not online to be popular. I am not online to gain favor with anybody. My message is very pure, and that is the message of self-improvement, specifically targeting the audience of men like you watching at home right now. Without the support group that I have cultivated over the years, I definitely know that it would have been way harder for me to get through this awful time. But I have emerged triumphant, and I'm here today to let you know that you do not have to be alone either. I know that the average man is a victim of today's mainstream narrative, which is constantly focused around one thing and one thing only: tearing men down. You see it on the news, you see it on social media, you see it in video games, music, movies, dramas. Everywhere you go, they are just focused on tearing men down with their hate-filled agenda. And men are losing hope today because they have no support system, they have no self-esteem, and everywhere they go, they're being victimized simply for the fact that they are men. This is absolutely having a devastating effect on the average male in today's Western population. And you can see it when you take a look at the average man around you. Anxiety, depression, feelings of hopelessness, and a general sense of giving up on life, choosing a life of leisure, drugs, addiction, and many more dark vices have become commonplace for the average man to delude himself in, to escape from the daily psychological attacks he receives from the moment he wakes up on every single platform available. This is devastating, it is not good, and it must stop. This is why I have created the Inner Game Healing Summit. In Q1 of this year, we had over 260 men join our community with the unified goal of strengthening our mental health together as men in this hostile modern world against men. This community is designed to help men strengthen their mind, understand the foundations of good psychological practices, to engage in on a daily basis in order to give them a very sound mind in today's crazy world. And more importantly, it's a network of men coming together, supporting each other, and lifting each other up in a very positive manner to help each individual man achieve the goals that he has set up for his life, no matter what this hostile mainstream narrative tries to do against that man. This recent attack against me only made me stronger in my beliefs. And that's why on June 29th, we are opening the Inner Game Healing Summit for a very special edition. And this 3-part program is going to help men like you achieve the mental health goals that you desire. The first part is our live virtual workshops. These virtual workshops can be attended by you at the convenience of wherever you are, as long as you have an internet connection. Secondly, we will be providing you with a video course that allows you to understand the principles of mental health, and you can go at your own pace at home, at the office, on vacation, wherever you like, as long as you have an internet connection. You'll have lifetime access to this, so it will be no problem for you to go back and review this, which I do highly encourage. And finally, you'll get access to a Telegram chat that already has 250 plus live members in it right now to help you on your journey of recovery. With direct access to me and leaders in my community, this is set up for you to win. Together with these tools, I believe that we can help the modern man in this hostile environment that attacks him and his mental health every single day. That's why I'm proud to present this special edition of the Inner Game Healing Summit. On June 29th, join me for the Inner Game Healing Summit. Endure. Thank you.
That's right, guys. The Inner Game Healing Summit is coming on June 29th for a 5-day enrollment, and we're getting started. So June 29th is the date you have to remember. Mark your calendars. And listen, if you want to get alerted completely for free, go right now to innergamehealing.com. Put your best email address right here. Click here to get on your waiting list. If you are a member of the Inner Game Healing Summit already, we have 250 plus members in there right now. We are going to do some bonus webinars in the month of June to help prep you guys. And as a lot of you guys know, I've been attacked by people left and right, at least recently, because I've quite frankly, I've received a level of notoriety that a lot of people are jealous and envious of. So they're coming at me. They want some clout. They want to attack. They got to do what they got to do because they actually add no value. If a person's platform is based upon tearing people down, the reality is they have no value. So I'm going to show you guys how to endure these attacks and how to persevere. And I'm going to show you all the keys to success that I have used to make me the successful man that I am. So go to innergamehealing.com. Links in the description box below. Links in the chat. Janelle, you are an angel. You are a patient, beautiful woman. Thank you so much for being on today.
Absolutely.
How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I'm just sitting here in my garage in Newport Beach. It was my son's last day of 2nd grade and just getting ready for fabulous summer, flying to Europe in a few weeks to shoot my first film. I got a lead role, so I'll be on the big screen.
Cool.
And yeah, I'm excited about that. And I'm so happy to be a part of what you're doing and your network. I really resonated with a lot of what you were saying, really all of it, about just how we have to protect the divine masculine.
Yes.
And I'm with you all the way on that. So thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. You know, it's funny. I think we met. I think we met in 2021, right?
Yeah, it was. Yes, I think so. Was it CME or where did we meet?
It was 2021. We met in Sterling Cooper's apartment.
In Sterling's apartment. Yes, that's correct. Yep.
It's been a good time.
Yes.
So one thing I noticed about you, you were recently on the Valuetainment Money panel.
Yes.
The Fresh and Fit Valuetainment Money collaboration. It was great to see you stand your ground because you had a lot of pushback from some of these younger chicks. And when we had a conversation, we had a pretty based conversation. We're gonna slightly tiptoe into it as because YouTube, the first 20 minutes, YouTube kind of wants you to play the Bible. But tell me a little bit about yourself, what you do, I've been seeing you everywhere. I'm so happy because we're individually having our come ups. I've seen you on Jubilee. I've seen you on all these shows. Tell me a little
Yes.
bit what you do. Why do you have an online presence? Who is Janelle Gordon?
Oh, thanks so much for asking such great questions. And sorry, let me move that out of the way. Yeah, so I'm been so happy to be on some different platforms lately. It's just been a real blessing and honor. And I think, in this industry, in this game that we're in, it's like the more press you get, it's almost always good. All press is good press for the most part, right? I feel like.
Right.
So I know you're going through a different situation right now. So it's like, I don't know if you agree with that, but yeah, so I'm a tantric intimacy sexpert, which just means that for men and women, married couples, single folks, I help you to really overcome any challenges that you're having with your sex life, more importantly, but with intimacy and relationships as a whole. For married couples, I put the sex back in your marriage. For people that are single, I help you attract the partner of your dreams. And I do these in the formats of 5-day luxury intimacy retreats around the world. So we go to the most amazing places. We're going to the Maldives in September.
Awesome.
And then I do one-on-one coaching. I do couples coaching. And then I have online masterminds for women. Obviously, I don't coach men like that in that capacity. And then I have online courses. So I've got a TEDx talk coming out. And then I have my book, my first book coming out this summer. So I'm really excited. It's called Unfuck Your Sex Life, Unleashing Passion and Intimacy for an Orgasmic Relationship. So that's what I do. I think a lot of times I definitely get misunderstood because I use some strong marketing techniques and things. But yeah, I'm really about the family dynamic, staying together, the divine masculine, the divine feminine, that polarity, and people staying together, whether it's in long-term committed or marriage, and having children and keeping our society functioning at like a really nice basis. So that's what I'm all about. Everything else is just icing on the cake because people like sex. They just don't like to talk about it.
So this is very interesting. So how long have you been doing this, Janelle?
I've been doing this for over a decade. I started off in the yoga world. For all you guys that don't like the spiritual stuff, get over it. but I started as just a yoga teacher. I trained with one of the best yoga masters on the planet. If you follow me, I post him on my story all the time. He's in his 80s. He does headstands with no hands in Times Square. I mean, he's more fit than most guys in their 20s. So he's my original, my OG, my original guru. And after that, I didn't really understand the path, but I had gone through a lot of, unfortunately, I had a less than pleasant childhood, adulthood, and I just wanted something real to grab a hold of. And this was it. I went to Thailand in 2012 and took a Tantra workshop. After that, I came back home. I put everything in storage and I lived over there for an entire year out of 2 suitcases. And I just studied under my gurus like extensively. And then once I graduated the program, I taught with them. I learned from them, and I wanted to do everything I could to master this trade, this craft, because I really believed in the power of the sexual polarity and how it is spirituality and how it can really change the quality of your life. And so I feel honored to be able to teach this. It's a blessing. And I also feel sad because there's so many people online that are following these guys in their, no offense if you're in your 20s, but you're in your 30s, right?
Mm-hmm. I am.
Yeah. These like 20-year-olds who are like giving dating and advice and relationship advice and life advice. I'm like, what have you done in your life? And they haven't even trained. Like, I take offense to that because I dedicated my life to this, Jonathan. Like, I didn't work for a year. I really was like, I want to learn this from the best. I went to India and trained with masters there. And I really did everything I could to grasp this and to teach it and to have that energy, that power within me. And people today are just blowing up and just giving bad advice to people. And I can't stand that.
It seems like the bad advice is the one that gets picked up and ran with the quickest.
Yes, I think because it's like the easiest and most clickbaity. I don't know.
Let me ask you something. Are you familiar with Vipassana meditation?
Vipassana?
Vipassana.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes,
I was looking at I was looking. There's a 10-day retreat that a couple of my friends went to, where you just literally just intensively meditate,
No
and
words.
they both had some kind of like traumatic upbringing, and they were saying
Yeah.
like this was like the most intense thing they did. I tried to get on the wait list and go in March, but it didn't happen because
What school is this? What school is this?
they're globally known. They have centers all over the world,
Okay.
and you do these retreats. And because I'm a big fan, because as you know, I'm running the Inner Game Healing Summit, and I've realized this as a guy coaching. Right, I started off talking about just dating and getting quality women in your life, getting women in general into your life, right, increasing your quality as a man. And I noticed all the guys coming to me, I would run these 2-week digital workshops, kind of similar to what you do. And what ended up happening was, like, week one, the guys would be like, yeah, I want women, I want sex, I want pussy, I want this, I want that. And then we would kind of dive deeper into it. And then the next week it was like, well, my mom never loved me. My dad never loved me. I was beaten as a child. And it all goes back
A
to like
lot of trauma.
these core issues that a lot of people have,
Yep. A lot of men and women. So at my school, we did Vipassana meditations, and we actually had like Vipassana retreats. That's why I was curious in Thailand. At my yoga school, we had them as well, and they're very effective, especially for men. Men really love them. I feel like Vipassana is really good for men because men are less talkative, and they're less kinesthetic. They're not like women. We're the earth. We're moving. We're always changing. And so Vipassana for women is really challenging. I feel like for women's therapy, it needs to be more an embodied practice. This is what I do, the work with women, where it's through tantric breath work, through postures, through movement, through dance movement. I help to get women's trauma out of their body. So I specialize in removing sexual trauma from women and men as well. But women is obviously my heart.
Yeah, it's like it's just more efficient I believe it's more efficient for men to coach men, women to coach women. And it's heavy work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I still get men that come to me though, and I'm not gonna turn their money away.
Well, let me catch up with some super chats real quick. Real Jake Paul, $5 super chat. Stay strong, MLD. Ignore the haters. I've been canceled globally and endured my way to a 9-figure portfolio. Thank you, Jake. Big shout to you. $5 super chat again. Janelle, I have a girl coming over in a few hours. What food should I eat for max endurance to last longer? Janelle, do you have an answer?
Yeah, don't eat anything before sex. So a lot of guys don't know this. If you want to last for a long time, you don't eat before sex, because sex actually grounds, or food actually grounds you. It goes to root chakra, number 1, and you can feel sluggish and tired. So you need a lot of vital energy, which comes in the first chakra, the first energy center. And so in order to get an erection, you need that that energy. But if you're eating, remember, all that energy is like, and it's like heavy and dense, and your body's trying to digest that. So you want to not eat anything until afterwards. And then afterwards you can have some like nice aphrodisiacs, just to like maybe have round 2. But yeah, don't eat for sure.
Yeah, I would say too, like when you eat, all the blood goes to your stomach. And so to make a hard erection, you need a lot of blood. You want to minimize blood flow. So, okay, let's get back on topic here. So you help women with their traumas and stuff like this. I want to talk about the state of women, because that's what today's episode is titled. Why are American women acting like men? You were visibly frustrated with some of the younger panelists on the Fresh and Fit live panel, and namely,
I almost left, by the way. I almost walked out. Only the reason I didn't is because I have so much respect for Adam.
Yeah. Talk to me about your perspective on things, because you do believe that American women are acting more like men, and the sexual polarities have seemed to flipped recently.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yes. So when you say like why, like the title of the show, why are American women acting this way? Well, it's super simple. Like, they've been conditioned to act this way. We can get mad at women, but we really have to be mad at men, like the men who are running the show, the top, like tiny one, like not even 1%, like that whatever it is percent of like
Mhm.
the Bezos, the Gates, all these people who have an agenda and who really want to keep people kind of trapped in the system and not thriving in life, not financially free. They want women to forego having children and getting married so they can be career women, so they can be in the workplace making money, right? And spending money. Remember, women spend more than men. Women are in the most credit card debt. Women buy emotionally, right? Men don't. So women eat emotionally, buy emotionally, etc. So the role they're playing is the role we designed them to play. So I don't really feel so much like it's women's fault. It's not women's fault. They're just playing the role, and then the men have acquiesced to the women because the polarity is now, flipped. Women are earning just as much as men now, if not more in some cases. Women aren't having kids anymore. They're not getting married, and if they do, they're getting married later and later.
Mhm.
And then you have, these men who are now stay-at-home dads or now are like having to, like you said, they're having to like compete, but also be like walking on eggshells and ice around women in the workplace, because if they say something or look something at them a certain way, there's affirmative action, they could get in trouble. It's just like made men weak and kind of beta and like, oh, like I can't, it's messed everything up. So I feel like this is all kind of a part of the master plan to keep to stop the flow of masculine and feminine energy uniting and procreating and having children. Could be, I don't know so much. I don't get into the theories of, is it population control? Is it this? Is it capitalism? I don't know. I'm not left brain enough to really understand that. You probably could break it down more, but I
Well,
just know that it's an agenda.
let me add into that, because I think what it is that basically, if you look at it, and Mike Tyson recently said this on an interview he did with Valuetainment, and he says if you look at the country's marketing, you can see the direction that the country is going. And basically, women are, I mean, quite frankly, women are more easily manipulated and controlled by the media and the marketing.
Yeah.
And they don't seem to realize that they are being manipulated by these marketing companies that don't care about them. Like anytime you see any kind of feminist movement, it's always, if you do a little digging and you do a little going into the roots of saying, where is this coming from?
Right.
It is always usually either tied to money or to votes. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's one of those two things. And so I think right now, because when I live outside of America, I live in Tokyo, Japan. I've been living here in Tokyo since 2016, and or excuse me, 2017. And when I go back to America and I watch TV, it blows my mind how all the marketing and everything is so female centric. They're targeting women with travel booking ads, with prescription drugs. I saw a prostate cancer like medical or prescription drug, and it was just like all women on the fucking screen, and everything is just female centric. And I don't think the average woman realizes until she's too late that, quite frankly, it's all a scam out there. And
It's up. It's the gig is up.
yeah, exactly.
It's up. It's done. Their time has passed. And the way that most modern women work and live today, I was reading, I believe it was one of my conscious authors about women's sexuality. I can't remember who exactly, but I read all of them often just to go back and refer. But it was talking about a woman's hormones. And I thought this was fascinating how a woman's hormones fluctuate, right? Like all the time they're fluctuating, right? Because we have the luteal phase, the FSH phase. We have all the different phases in our moon cycle that
You're talking about ovulation.
Yeah, I'm talking, you're right. Just ovulation, just our whole cycle of hormones that we go through every month. It's always changing. And it's not meant to be in an environment where we're working a 10 to 10 type schedule or an 8 to 8 type schedule. Our hormones are too sporadic for that like intense pressure, where a man's hormones are they're more the same. They're not changing so much, and a man's like physical, even DNA is built for that kind of work, that kind of intense pressure. And it's just not that way for women, but that's what's happening now. Women are blowing out their adrenals from stress, from not sleeping. And then heaven forbid they wake up and they're my age and then they're like, oh my God, I want to have kids and I want to have a family. 9 times out of 10, it's not going to work because they haven't taken care of themselves, right? Stress, we know what is not going to get you pregnant. Right? We know that. And so, yeah, these things that are all, there is, like you said, there's an agenda, whether it's for dollars or votes or whatever. And I just thought it was funny. I live in a very, Trump land. I live in a very Republican, right world. And in Newport Beach, it's very, very conservative here. Which is why I choose it and to raise my son. And it's just one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in the world. There's that too. So, but I thought it was interesting how the left is always creeping in. So I just got back from Miami, obviously. I'm flying into John Wayne Airport, which is like 7 minutes from my house. It's a dream. I don't have to deal with LAX. It's perfect. And I'm flying in and I'm going down to get my bag. And as I look up, I see like, welcome to John Wayne. And it's a mural, on the wall. And there's 4 different adults on there, like getting stuff out of this, the snack bar that they're advertising, and it's a black man, a black woman, and like an Asian woman, and then a Mexican woman. And I'm like, this is so crazy because we live in Newport Beach, which is like predominantly white. I'm like, how funny is this like agenda where everything's got to be just so PC and so this, and there was one man and he was black, and then the woman was black, and then there was an Asian woman and a Mexican woman. I'm like, this does not even look like where I live. I just thought that was interesting.
Because what these elites do, it's all about money. Okay. And here's what they want us to do. They say like diversity is our strength because they want black people to give up their identity. They want white people to give up their identity. They want Indian people. They want Spanish people. That's why they call them Spanish people, Latinx, right? They're trying to make everybody this large, unisex consumer base that they can just sell to. And people are, people are waking up to that because I think there is, I've traveled the world, you've traveled the world. There's beauty in so many different cultures. You know what I mean? And when we try to eliminate that, it just looks like a total, hack job. Like for me, it's clear as day to see the agenda. So let me ask you this, right? You're currently seeing the state of women. You're currently seeing the state of men. Are you optimistic for the future? Do you think this is going to turn around? Do you think nature is going to correct this? Or you think we're going to keep on heading down this psychotic path? Because, keep this in mind. This is exclusively in the Western world. This isn't happening in Japan. This isn't happening in China. This isn't happening in Korea, Vietnam, India. India actually has had this huge conservative revolution that over the last couple of years.
Yeah. It's just true. I mean, when I went, I was very afraid because I was like, oh my God, not afraid to go. I went alone, but like I was definitely covered like this head to toe the whole time. And then I found out that it was like a little more lax than what I thought. They said, oh, you're okay when you're on the hotel. But yeah, they've definitely, because India used to be very sexualized, extremely sexualized, which is where we get Tantra, which is where we get the Kama Sutra. And then the British came in and then they totally colonized everything and it became religious. And then there became a huge, modest kind of whole sexual repression even. And then it kind of shifted back. And now, like you said, again, there's a new wave again. So it's in that thing. But do I think what the future of America? It's not getting any better anytime soon in the U.S. because there's still money to be made, if you will. And there's still a polarity agenda to disrupt. This thing with the LGBTQ community that is, and again, this is no disrespect to anyone who is lesbian, gay. Like,
isn't it so funny how we have to be like, but we don't mean anything. We don't mean anything. Don't cancel us. Don't.
I know it's. I literally lost a friend because of my post. How I said I'm raising my son straight, and I just said, and maybe that was a clickbait title. And I told him, I'm like, you've known me for decades. Like, you should have. If you're really walking away from me for a title of me, marketing my business, I'm like, geez. But anyway, it's like the whole agenda of, like now I just saw in San Francisco, the second woman won a title. She won Miss San Francisco, and she was trans, right? So now she gets to go to the Miss America pageant. There's only ever been two. And of course, and then she went in, and get this, she went into the schools reading a book that was like Dancer Boy or something like that. And this is with this boy with a dress on. And like, this is the agenda that they're teaching our children. And here's my whole thing, and everything I was saying, I was like, listen, be whoever you are, great, but don't demand rights for elective surgeries and things that you decided to do that goes around the constructs of what we have in society, not even society, what we have down to nature from a scientific base of like the cellular code in your DNA. Like, if you want to alter that, great, awesome, it's your right to do that, but you can't demand rights and then don't infringe that on our children. Like, give them a fighting chance, And so with this whole movement, they want more men to be feminized, because the more feminine a man is, he's just one step further from getting an operation or for putting a dress on, right? The more masculine a woman becomes, the more they know she's going to forego childbirth, like getting married and creating, like procreating, having that family dynamic. And so they're winning in the end. Like you said, it's about that dollar. I don't think it's getting better anytime soon. I mean, my goal is to blow up as big as I can so I can get this message out there, because I'm not afraid of what anyone says about me. As long as they keep my son out of it, I'm cool. Like, come for me, please.
Come for me. Well, it does seem that I don't know. I'm a little bit more optimistic in the sense, because we're having a lot, because obviously now you can tell, like, the only reason that these people have gained so much ground is because of an unfair advantage they have in social media. The banning, the shadow banning. I think I don't know if the average person is aware of what a shadow ban is. Are you aware of what a shadow ban is?
I'm always shadow banned, dear. I think currently now I'm shadow banned.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so you're aware of that, but I think the average person is becoming more aware of it, and you're having these alt tech platforms. Like the platform that's the worst for banning and stuff is Twitch, and Twitch is bleeding money. They've been bleeding money for years, and they're owned by Amazon, but they've just let these freaks take over the platform, and now they're just getting to the point that they're starting to like come for the live streamers' money and their income. And the alternative that's just popped up is Kick, and Kick has like this endless amount of money that they're just financing anybody who wants to come over. Also, the upcoming website Rumble. Rumble is also
I have Rumble. I mean, I created, but I haven't put anything on it.
Right. So that's what I'm trying to tell you, is that the Rumble platform as well is something that is censorship free. Sneeko has been building a giant platform on there, and in addition to that, other platform creators are going there. Miss Kiff just went there. All these big streamers have gone there. So I do see an alternative tech platform being risen. And then if you just pull back on everything and look at the big picture of humanity, right? Humans are not trending away from truth. We're trending towards truth. We're getting closer and closer to truth. We're not getting further from truth.
I agree with that.
And the last thing that they have right now is censorship. That's the last thing. And cancellation. And who is the biggest person they just canceled over the last 2 years?
Andrew Tate.
Andrew. And where's he at? He's still alive and kicking, and he's doing well.
Well, but with that again, I think with people like Andrew, who fortunately had resources and had a support team, yes. But if you're like a grassroots organization and you got no money and they cancel you, you're gone. Do you know what I'm saying? If you're like on your soapbox preaching, hey, please stop, trying to make our kids trans, that you're preaching this agenda, you're probably going to get canceled and you're not coming back because you don't have the funding, right?
Yeah. But I will say this. I think what the thing with Andrew Tate is, like, he has kind of proven to the cancelers that you're running out of time, because this cancer culture thing is an exclusively American thing. You know what I mean? This started in America with this one chick, I don't know if you're familiar with Dongle Gate, but there's these two programmers at a fucking, computer programmer convention, and they were talking about dongles. Dongles an attachment to a computer, and they're like, haha, I've got a big dongle at home. They're like making jokes, like insinuating that a dongle is their dick. And this lady went and complained to them and got both these men fired. These guys had families and everything too, and she was just some miserable single bitch. And that's what started like this whole cancel culture thing. But now it's gotten to the point that a lot of these companies, their bottom lines are being hurt. Budweiser right now is still losing money, not like from the whole Dylan Mulvaney situation.
Yeah. But is it really hurting them? I heard they're in bed with like they own so many other companies that it's like. Well,
I think if you lose $6 billion in a month, I don't think that's good for anybody.
Well, yeah, I don't think that's good for anyone. Well, the same thing. Look with what they did with Target. With the clothing that they were making to hide genitals and all this stuff, like for children. Like this stuff has just gotten out of control. Yeah. And the original cancel.
I was going to say this. I do think though that the general public is starting to fight back though, and I think. Do? Yeah, I definitely see it. I mean, look, the normies are going to norm, right? The normies are going to norm. They're going to take the clot shot. They're going to do all that. They're going to do. Did you?
No. Hell no. I didn't even vaccinate my son like for just regular vaccines.
Good for you.
Yeah, no. I'm holistic. Like my first education is holistic nutritionist. So I don't put anything in my body they tell me to put in there.
Yeah. You know what's funny too? When I want to talk about that for a second. Every time I go back to America, Janelle, and I eat the food, my face puffs up.
It's puffy,
and I have the digestion problems.
It's weird because my son's father's European, and I take my son every year. We go to Europe and just travel around whatever countries we're going to at that time, and it's traveling with a kid. It's good, but it's also hard too, and. I'm not on my gym like I am. I'm eating just whatever I want. I'm plant-based. I'm like 99% vegan. But when I'm over there, I'm having, if I want a croissant, I'm having a fucking croissant. If I want some Belgian chocolate, the best chocolate in the world, I've had Swiss chocolate. I still think Belgian's better. Like I have it. I indulge. I have pasta. I have all those things that I don't eat here. And I come back and I've lost weight. And I'm like, how did this happen that I ate all the food that they tell you not to eat? Like, chocolate, pasta, bread, sugar, all this stuff. And I come back like I've lost weight and I haven't even been working out. So a lot of it's walking too, but I just believe that they're not putting the same additives in our food like they do in the US. Like the US is they're like actively trying to make us sick or make us addicted to whatever is in those chips or whatever. So I find the same thing. When I'm in Europe, I can eat whatever and I'm fine. I'm totally fine. In fact, I go the opposite way. Yeah.
It's I just feel like there is something seriously wrong with a lot of things in the States right now. And, it just seems to me too that people are just becoming increasingly aggressive and hostile just everywhere in the Western hemisphere. Like when I live in Japan, and like Japan is a very
Zen.
The whole society is based upon peace and harmony. All this, like, there's not drama, there's virtually no violence here. You know what I mean? It's a very peaceful culture. But when I go back to America, everybody is just so at each other's
agitated and angry and triggered.
Where do you think that comes from?
I think it's first of all, I'm gonna say this and I might get some haters, but I'm just gonna say it. I think it's the meat that they're eating. It's been pumped with antibiotics.
Yeah, for sure.
And hormones and things to make the meat fat or the cow's fat, or to make the milk, make the cows produce more milk, all this stuff. So I believe it's a lot of that and how the animals are slaughtered. It's not a humane way. So anytime that an animal dies in a certain way and you consume it, you're eating that energy, that fear, that anger, and even the guys who work, if you really want to know what goes on in these, and I'm not advocating for vegan. I just think if you're going to eat meat, you have to do it consciously. If you read some of the books of what happens in the slaughterhouses, like these guys who are working in them, they're border Mexicans who, they don't have papers. They're getting paid pennies, nothing really, right? And they are under so much pressure to keep that line moving, to get the next slaughter, to get the next kill, that they're even, you know, getting cut, getting hurt, getting all this stuff. And it's just a very angry, violent environment. So I think that's one of them. What's in the food, how the animals are dying. I think that's a huge thing. Plus the violence and on I don't want to sound like I'm 60, but the violence in TVs and movies. I don't consume that stuff. Like, I know people love to go to scary movies and they think it's fun, but like that stuff goes into your psyche and it's not good. Like, what do you think is happening when you consume that stuff on a regular? Plus then we have the music, the rap music that everyone thinks is so cute, right? It's like, oh, it's cool to listen to rap music. And it's like, this stuff is like, they're like real gangs here and not far from me. Well, far enough, but in LA, right? You have the Crips and the Bloods, and this stuff really happens and really goes on. And the music that's made is from those opposing gangs, right? And then you also have the East Coast rap, which is a whole nother thing, and the South rap. So it's all very aggressive, violent music, and people are just consuming this stuff on a regular. Why do you think they're not going to be aggressive, right?
They did a study too. Like when somebody listens to a lot of hip hop music, they're far more of an aggressive person. And nightclubs, they have more instances of fist fights and violence on the hip hop nights than just like regular stuff,
like a country or whatever.
Yeah, you know, it's funny that you mentioned I don't watch horror movies either for the same reason. I don't put that. I don't want that floating around in my subconscious mind.
Not
why would I put these? Because I kind of came to this resolution like when this movie called Hostel came out. Like,
I remember that. I couldn't watch any of that stuff ever.
No, so I started to watch it, and then I watched it. I was on a date with this Korean girl, and then I also watched that movie Saw, the first one. And after that stuff, like I remember I started having like these kind of dreams and stuff, and I just was thinking to myself, if I never put that into my head, I would never have that. But you know what? Another thing that I don't like about America that is consistent, every single television show and movie always has some kind of relationship conflict in it. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah, it's the plot. Like there's 8 steps to making a film. It's 8 steps to creating a book, anything. It's the hero sequence, right? And it's always about, like, if you go through the steps, this comes straight from Hollywood. Like, I have the inner scoop on how they make movies, but basically it's always that there's has to be some kind of conflict, and then there's some kind of sage or some kind of wise person that comes and helps resolve that conflict. But in all of the movies today, you're right, that's a masculine and feminine conflict that they put in there. Other movies could be just an inner conflict within themselves, going through something, dark night of the soul. But 99% of them, it is that. There's a struggle, they break up, there's cheating, there's this, there's that. And then most of the time they get back together, right? And everything's happy.
Yeah. Again, like I'm looking at the shift in the global powers too. America is definitely losing its status as number one in the world. It's slowly but surely happening because we Americans can see the turmoil within our culture. Like in Polish culture, this is not happening. In like Japanese culture, this isn't happening.
Really?
No.
I just know that when I'll never forget, like this is in 2013 when I was training as an international school in Thailand, India. I was one of 3 Americans there. Both of the Americans had been at the school for 10 years. And then there was a few others that trickled in. I digress. There's a few of us, but mostly it was international students from Eastern Europe, from Israel, from Europe, et cetera. Right. And so this is a huge school that I went to. And when I would say like I was American, and I also notice this now when I travel, people are like, like they just look at you like you have leprosy. And I found it so like embarrassing. So when I travel now, I always say I'm from Hollywood. And if you say you're from Hollywood, then they're like, oh, okay. Because Hollywood has such a a stronghold over the rest of the world. But if you say you're from anywhere in the US, they look at you like a second-class citizen, like you're stupid, like you're unintelligent.
It's
embarrassing.
Right now, there's this stupid black guy in Japan, and he is a live streamer, and he's running around drunk with a camera, screaming at Japanese people saying, we're going to do Hiroshima and Nagasaki again. We're going to do Hiroshima and Nagasaki again. And he's running around the country. He's playing loud music on trains. And he is just looking like a fool. And now, because of this idiot, he is causing everyone in Japan to hate Americans even more. And, you know, even these Japanese people found him the other day and they ran up on him and where he was staying. And even then he was like, oh, he said he was sorry because like 8 of these guys ran up on him. But then after, he kept on talking shit. And it's just an awful look. And I totally get what you're saying, because when I travel and I'm traveling around, people always ask me where I'm from. And like, when you tell them you're American, like, you know, they do pull back a little bit.
They totally judge you. They're like, and it makes sense, because, you know, our culture, like, there's a part of me that I was like, I was prepared to move to Europe to raise my son there. And then you know, where his father lives. But then I came to California, and I really knew he was going to have a better quality of life here in the area I live, at least, where it's very protected. But I do take him often, and I just want him to see the rest of the world and see that, like, where, like, this is not like normalcy, right? Like, the rest of the world's educated. They speak, you know, millions of languages, you know, they understand culture. It's not just what's on TV and like, what kind of chips are we opening, you know, like there's more. So I've been very diligent in making sure that my son has, I think he's at 13 or 14 countries now. I'm lost, and he's just 8. So I'm really, really on it every year to take him to at least 2 to 3 countries. And I hope that serves him well, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Americans are the laughing stock of the world. When you ask the average Japanese person, like, do you want to go to America? You know what they say now? They're like, no, it's too dangerous. It's too dangerous.
Yes. My son's father is Belgian and Malian from West Africa, and him and his friends are always scared when he comes. They're like, dude, be careful. And I'm like, I always laugh because, like, he's coming to like Newport Beach, which is like so safe and so docile and so affluent. And he's like, no, my friends are always like, dude, are you going to get, you know what, in the middle of the street? And it's just, it's really sad that that's the image that we are now portraying.
Yeah, but it's true. I mean, like, when you see it on the news, it is, I mean, every time I'm in the States, I have a gun on me. I just don't,
Wow.
I have my concealed weapons permit, and I just don't.
I don't blame you. I do not blame you.
No. I'm not going to be a victim. And you see people getting increasingly desperate. Like this woman just now in Miami the other day, she drugged a man and stole $600,000 worth of his watches. You know,
where did this happen?
Miami. She was in Miami. She was all in the news. I don't know if they caught her, but you know, they did have
like
her on.
She knew the guy or what?
Yeah, she knew the guy. She drugged him, took him up into his room, and took the stuff out of the safe. And then she even took the cups with the drugs with her, like the cups. She was pretty smart, but not smart enough to not get caught on camera. I don't know if they caught her yet, but you know, stuff like that never happens here in Japan and stuff like that.
Well, this is another reason why you have to be careful for guys who think, oh, I'm just going to amass wealth and then get a 20-something-year-old. It's like, yeah, dude, that's not a great plan. Sorry, fresh and fit.
let me catch up some super chats. New Horizons $10 super chat. If anything, meditation isn't the easiest in the modern day. If anything, if people are interested, what's your best advice for people who find meditation challenging to do? Start.
That's a great question. Walking meditation. It's a great way to begin. I'm more kinesthetic. If I don't move my body, I actually have challenges. Like my body's hyper flexible, hyper mobile. So the more that I don't like move actively, it's bad. I like kind of get all tight and stuff. So where most people get tight after they work out, right? I'm the opposite. If I don't do anything, like I have to. So walking meditation, I highly recommend it. Finding some music that has no words. You can look on YouTube. There's so much free. Just look hertz music that has like a high hertz. It's a high frequency of music, and you put that on while you're walking, and you kind of get in like what they call the best athletes, the best chefs, the best anyone in the world. they ask them like, how do you, like, what is your secret? And they've actually done science tests on it. It's called, like, they call it flow state. It's like, you know, when chefs are like, or musicians, right, or athletes are doing, and it's like a whole state. So you can create that state through walking, because you're moving, right? And so it's like you're in a trance, but you're moving your body, and you have some music on, or there's plenty of guided ones. Dr. Joe Dispenza does some amazing ones. All his stuff is backed in science if you geek out on that. So I highly recommend starting that. And then if you want to do it sedentary, put a candle on and start by just watching the flame. It's a nice little trick. Sort of tricks your mind. And so you kind of like gaze with the flame. You can also do it with the ocean moving in and out. There's so many different ways. But the thing is just to start and give yourself a realistic time frame. Like, I'm going to do 3 minutes, and stick with that until you get it. Then you can up it to, okay, 3:30, and go like that. Because remember, your brain builds upon success. So don't start too big. Like, I'm going to do in 45 minutes. It's not going to happen, right? You got to start small. But great question.
Yeah, I have 3 Juve red light therapy machines, and I sit in front of them, and I don't necessarily I don't like going to like a deep meditation, but I do when I wake up. I do the walking meditation. My friend Paul from Apex Mindset taught me about that. That's something we talk about at the Inner Game Healing Summit.
Yes.
And because in today's modern time, our minds are just so going. I mean, social media addiction, like this endless amounts of dopamine, this shit really fucks with you. And you have
anxiety,
to, like,
all that.
Anxiety, depression, low feelings of like poor self-worth. And you have to really pull back from that and take control of your mind. But the best thing is this, though, when you're able to turn off the noise and calm your mind. Like recently, you know, I've been under this gigantic viral attack. It seems to be a pattern. They just posted an article about Myron Gaines from Fresh and Fit. Seems like these people just want to, this is the new thing to tear down. Why? Because it's empowering men. It's telling men to be smarter and better. And they're trying to attack us. But, you know, the reality is this. I don't think that humanity is heading towards this global slavery that people think that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to, I mean, there's always been people who have been trying to take over the world, but I don't think we're heading to this global this enslavement. This is like, what does everybody think? We're just going to end up in concentration camps, or like we're going to end up in FEMA camps.
The extreme rights do.
Right. And I just don't think that's going to happen, because
I don't think so either.
Look what's happening in Uganda. Did you see what happened in Uganda recently?
I don't have a television or anything, so tell me.
So
I live in a bubble.
That's a good thing to do.
Yes.
The Ugandans were saying, like, we don't want your American money, because I think America was threatening to cut funding to Uganda if they didn't start promoting this homosexual agenda. And the Ugandans were like, fuck you. We would rather be poor than put up with this shit. So based Africans.
Wow.
Africans are great.
They're like hard, you know, like my son, you know, comes from a very strong line of shamans, African shamans in West Africa. So they're strong. These, you know, they don't care about that, like being, you know, accepted just for monetary gain or whatnot. No, they definitely have values. It seems like America was known for that, but lost it somewhere, which is why I think this all goes back to women, and why I was talking on a podcast the other night, or maybe I was with a client. I can't remember, but sometimes it all intermixes. But we were talking. It was a client of mine. I said, are you planning to have children? And he said, I think so. He's about your age, mid-30s, very successful. Mm-hmm. And he has a girl, and his girl was sort of complaining about that their 33-day European luxury trip was cut short because he had to come back and take care of business, right? Like, he's got to handle business, right? And they'd already gone to like all these places, Paris, Italy, Florence, like amazing, but they didn't finish the last leg. They had to come back a week early or something, 2 weeks early. And so she was all complaining, and I was like, yeah, I bet she doesn't complain about the Gucci, the Chanel, right? The Cartier. And he's like, no, she doesn't. I said, she's young, right? He goes, yeah. So I said, are you going to have kids? He said, I want to, but he said, I can't do it now. And he said, I would only do it if I have full-time staff with me. Like, and I said, you know what? I had this like really like epiphany moment. And I said, I don't think women are cut out to have children today. Like, most American women cannot have kids, or shouldn't be having children in the mindset that they are. Because it requires actually having to have altruism. It requires that you have to, like, I did what most people find extremely abhorrent. I breastfed my son extremely long. If you're
How long?
curious, okay, so around the clock, every hour until he was 3.5. Like, he wanted it at night, but that I didn't stop there. COVID hit, obviously, when he was around 4, and it was a scary time for many. And so he nursed and continued to nurse up until he was 7, on and off. Very, like, if he got like a sore or hit or was sad, because remember, dad's not here, so then he'd want to nurse. But it wasn't like you would see, and it was just obviously upstairs in bed. My son is so emotionally intelligent. Like, he did not go to kindergarten or first grade because of COVID, and he started second grade, and he was like ahead of his entire class. Like, he was just like smart and everything. So a lot of people like think it's weird or disgusting, and they can think whatever they want, but the bottom line is it was a level of commitment to do that, like to make sure that I don't really remember the first 3.5 years of my life because I didn't sleep, but it was really worth it to give that to my son. Like, to know that he's so good today. He's confident. He doesn't care about, like, he was having some hygiene stuff. And I said, he just turned 8. And I'm like, bro, you got to get this shit together. You're not going to have any friends. He's like, I don't care. I'll make more. Like, he really doesn't give an F. And he's 8, and he's a biracial kid in a white Newport Beach. So I just think that women don't have that gene to nurture, to be feminine, to be receptive, to be surrendered. Because you got to surrender. Sometimes nursing isn't fun. It hurts like hell. It hurts, and it's like, it's a sacrifice. You're burning so many calories, you're eating so much, and then when you stop nursing, you gain everything back, and then you're like, what the hell happened? You got to work out, make sure it stays off. It's a roller coaster of hormones that go through your body, and I just don't think women have that that sacrifice or that discipline or commitment or feminine nurturing nature to have children anymore. If I was a man, I would be very freaking selective who I had kids with.
No, like, honestly, I have a friend, and she's a very beautiful woman, and she's very successful, 6 figures. Like, she's stunning. She's gorgeous. And she's American, and she, like, jokingly says, like, when the end of my work day, I just want to come home and cry, because she's in her mid-30s, and she's former model, like, stunning, beautiful, looks better than these girls in her 20s. And she was just saying, like, like, I just want to come home and cry from all the stress of, like, dealing with all this work. So I think this too. Let me ask you something. So you have all these chicks, right? They're always saying,
shut
like,
up and take my money.
Men ain't shit. Men ain't shit. Oh, actually, let me read the super chats real quick. David Stewart, 499 super chat. A couple should work together as best friends and lovers, working like a well-oiled machine. Absolutely agree with you on that. Justin Mark, 99 cents. Thank you, Justin. Call you after the show, buddy. But with regards to, like, this women, like, saying men are shit, I don't need a man, I don't need a man. Another thing is this too, right? Like, there is a change in the tune now with people, like, because some of these women are actually publicly coming out and being like the trad wife and stuff like that.
Wait,
And
what's that? The trad wife? Some of these terms I'm not familiar with.
it's short for traditional wife, and they're big.
Oh, trad wife. Got you. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and there are these. You got another donation here. Thanks,
Shut up
Justin.
and take my
$69.99. MLD's the goat. Love you, buddy. But you're having these women now who are absolutely making a public persona on, like, saying stay together with your man, like, keep relationships together. Closing thoughts. What do you think? Like, do you see, because there are women out there that want relationships and want to make things better and get together. Are you optimistic for the future? Are you pessimistic? Are you kind of like, I don't know? Or what's your thoughts and everything?
I want to be optimistic because I like to see the positive in life, even in all the chaos. Like, even when I said, are we doomed? I think just because of the financial agenda we are, but I also agree with you when you say there's too many truth seekers out there to keep things rolling as they are. I think the progress will be slower than maybe we'd like, but I think we'll still get that way. I just think that Man, this is a tough one. I think as a man, if your job is like to find this woman to bear your name and to have your children and to continue your legacy, like I honestly believe you have your work cut out for you. I'm not going to lie. I feel like I don't want to say that because it's so annoying when Fresh and Fit do that. I believe that women today are too empowered and too selfish and love themselves too much, because everyone's always like, oh, we need more self-love, we need more self-empowerment for women run the world. No, we don't. We need to bring down women just a little bit. Like they need to bring, everything needs to come down like 5 notches. Women are too self-absorbed. They love themselves too much. They're too empowered. So they're at that level where it's going to be impossible for them to really, you want a woman that kind of needs you, right? To provide, protect, be present, to give you penis, all those things. And if she run the world, like Beyonce says, right? She doesn't need you. And you think a woman won't submit to you? You think she's going to submit to child labor or to nursing or to her child screams in the night? No. You're going to have a disaster on your hands. So I think there has to be more work put in women doing embodiment work, self-embodiment, not empowerment, where they get out of the matrix, they start working through the trauma, they start healing and in opening up to their sexuality in a healthy way that's really educated and spiritual, so that they can be submissive to a partner and that they can have children. But at the current state, women are more worried about their freaking selfies and if their ass looks good in the post that they just put up. Even the most conservative ones still are. They still want that clout because they've been conditioned that way, dear.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen it.
No, I clearly do. I mean, it's just, I when I go back to America, the number one thing that I am thinking about is when the fuck can I get out of here? I strictly go to America for business. When I'm there, I like to rent supercars and drive them because I don't drive in Tokyo because I don't have the Japanese license. But looking at just the state of things in America, and it's just getting I don't know. It's very toxic, conflicting kind of environment. At least when I go there, that's what I see.
Yes. Yeah. Especially you're in Miami a lot, right?
Yeah. I mean, I go all over, but I don't know. If I were to go back to America, I would need to go to the countryside and have a big piece of land and grow my food, have a couple of animals, and just collect guns and that's
collect guns and
that's all I want to do. So where can everybody find you, Janelle? Thanks for coming on today.
Absolutely. Well, if you're on YouTube, you can find me at Janelle Gordon. I'm posting every day now. I'm really actually trying to do this YouTube thing. I do want to call you after your Pearl trip. Maybe you can give me some advice on this.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like I have a lot to offer and I want to do it right. If I'm going to do it, I might as well do it right. Right.
Yeah.
So you can find me on YouTube, Janelle Gordon. You can go to my site, theofactors.com, learn about my retreats, my book. You can take a quiz, find out what kind of lover you are, all that good stuff. So that's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with us, Janelle. Guys, don't forget, on the 29th of this month, we have the Inner Game Healing Summit going on as well. If you want to learn about just feeling more mental peace, conquering your traumas, finding some deep confidence, and just learning how to calm your mind in this crazy time, go to innergamehealing.com, put your email address in right here, and then click here to get on the waiting list. It's completely for free. It's very simple to do. You can just put your email here, click on this little button to get on the wait list. You'll be locked in, loaded, and then you'll be joining the 250 plus members already in the group. And we're going to be putting on some great webinars. We're going to be putting on some virtual workshops. You get a video course. You get access to the Telegram chat and so much more. So thank you guys so much for watching us today. I am going to be getting on a plane right now, and I'm going to go to London because I'm going to be on the Just Pearly Things podcast for the next 2 weeks. So thank you guys all for watching today. And don't forget, make money, make muscles, learn game, whole frame. We'll see you next time.